have a question for you. Where do corporations get their money? It doesn't fall out of the sky, right? That money ends up as something that you could say earn, you can argue differently, whatever you want to call it, as a result of them doing certain kinds of goods and services for other people, making goods or providing services for other people. And this may seem like an odd place to start a discussion on full plate. And by full plate, I mean you're having a full plate, your life, you being busy and feeling like you don't have time to get into a lot of different stuff. But that is what we're going to talk about today on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host, I'm Kurt, and today is Monday, the 1st of November of 2021. Welcome to everyone who's here on Rumble, on the podcast, and on YouTube. Remember, Rumble is my preferred platform, and again, the subject for today is going to be full plate. I'm going to show you why it matters where corporations get their money. And I want to point out here, if it's not you, it's people from whom you buy goods and services who must pay for those goods and services provided by other corporations. But let me go ahead and get into my notes, and you'll see what I'm saying. I promise I well understand what it feels like to have no discretionary time. Yesterday, when I wasn't doing things for others, I had things I had to do that took up almost all the rest of my day. I had basically no time to use for myself. That's just not all that uncommon a thing for me. I get that you feel like you just don't have the time or effort to worry about things like what's going on in the political world. But can I hand you something to consider? Let's just cover one scenario. We'll pick one not quite at random, and you know because you actually heard me talking about it a minute ago. I want to take just a second and talk about the idea of raising corporate tax rates. This is one of the politicians, particularly the left, but some on the right as well, their favorite targets, okay? You may think nothing of that. Maybe because you haven't the time or because it seems like it doesn't matter to you one way or another. You should, though. Why? Because whether you believe it or not, it will have an effect on you. Let's take a second to go through it. Taxes are raised on all corporations. Prices are not and should not be controlled by the government. Those business entities increase the cost of their products or services to make it possible to pay those higher tax rates and still be profitable, which they must do to be able to pay their investors and to expand and so forth. The thing that they do or make costs more. Those consuming it must pay more. Their money becomes worth less. Are McDonald's and Target corporate entities? Yup. Their taxes go up, your prices go up, the dollar in your pocket loses value. Okay, so let's tax a business you don't use. Does that matter to you? Yes, because others who use those businesses increase their prices to pay for the product or service in question. In short, the cost gets passed on from one entity to another until it lands typically on you. The point here is to stop believing this stuff doesn't affect you. You don't have to do anything directly to make that 10 spot go down in value such that it only buys $7.50 in goods and services. Or services and services. Don't have the time to look at stuff like that? Too much going on? Or it doesn't matter to you? You might want to rethink that. Look, this was just an example. There are 1,000 more. People make new rules about where you can drive, what you can drive, what you need to do to have your license, what businesses are going to be taxed, how businesses are going to be regulated. And they do this every day. And you have to understand that almost all of this has an effect on the lowest man on the totem pole on up. And let me point something out to you. If I have to pay a little bit more for my burger, I don't like it. I don't want to. But for me, typically, I can afford it. when somebody is making minimum wage or is even making $15 or $20 an hour? Can that person say the same? Not so much. So the point is, you people who are low man on the totem pole, believe it or not, it's more important to you whether or not things like this happen. It's more important what government is doing. And that's why it's firstly important for you to take the time to know what people are doing. And secondly, important for you to know what the effects of the various things people are doing will be when it comes to how it affects you. And I'm going to tell you something. When they increase regulation on a given industry, when they tax a business or a rich person more, you can pretty much bet that that person is going to find a way to pass that tax on, or that corporation is going to find a way to pass that tax on to other people. And I'm here to tell you, in entities where government tries to control the prices of things, it becomes impossible to get those things lots of the times if they overprice them or if they underprice them, right? So the problem is, so Medicare and Medicaid are perfect examples of this. How many people stopped taking Medicare and Medicaid type patients because they knew that they were never going to get paid back what it actually cost them to operate, because Medicare and Medicaid said this is what you receive for doing this. You're doing an appendectomy? Well, you get this for that. So you get $10,000 for that. Well, it cost me $25,000 to do the appendectomy. And you can say that that's my fault or my problem or whatever. But look, it could just have to do with the fact that I'm in this region of the country as opposed to that. It costs me twice as much to rent or buy the place that I'm working. Costs me, time half again as much to buy the various supplies and equipment that I need to do the work. So the point is, this idea that government controlling prices is a bad idea, right? Well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, if they can't control the price, it means that if they change the way things work, over-regulate things, add taxes to things, it means that the prices of those things are going to go up. And when the price of that appendectomy goes up, and that shopkeeper who has a 10-year-old who needs to have his appendix taken out sees the bill, he's going to have to raise his prices in order to make it possible for him to pay for that appendectomy. So does it matter to you? Well, if you shop in that store, it does. And if other people shop in that store, it's a good chance that they're going to pass the cost on to you. You may not think it matters to you. You may not think that the fact that you have a full plate means that you can walk away and totally ignore that cost is there. You may think that, but let me make it quite plain to you. If you think that, you are going to be affected by people who are going to do things. And the sad thing is, a lot of them are going to think they're actually doing things for you. And when you look at what they're doing, you're going to find out they're not doing things that benefit you at all. Oh, I'm going to regulate more stringently the medical profession when it comes to doing appendectomies. Great, but what you don't understand is, to keep up with the regulations, they have to raise their prices because they have to do more in order to meet those regulations. And the result is a person getting their appendix taken out pays more for that job. And it doesn't matter, you can say, well, but my health insurance pays for that. Yes, but when your health insurance sees that the cost of that appendectomy is higher, they will increase their rate in order to make sure they're able to pay for it. So it will be the medical insurance. And actually, lots of people will end up paying more, even though they're not going to have that appendectomy done. Right? The point is this: whether it's regulation, whether it's increases in taxes, whether it's inflation as a result of printing money, or so many other things, I don't care if you're, quote, the common man. I don't care if your plate is full. You better start paying attention, because it will come back on you that they do what they do. And you won't have to have anything to do with it. In fact, as a rule, guess what? You don't have anything to do with it, and that is part of the problem. Okay, I need to go ahead and wrap up now. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt, and today is Monday, the 1st of November of 2021, that beginning of the work week for most people. That means tomorrow will be Tuesday, the 2nd of November of 2021. Just did that whole Halloween thing. I'm glad it's over. My son is sad because it's one of his favorite times of the year. Thank you for everyone who's been here on Rumble, on the podcast, and on YouTube. Again, the subject for today has been full plate, and I just urge you, even though your plate is full, watch what's going on around you and take notice and learn how it's going to affect you. Tomorrow we're going to talk about unchecked power, and I'm going to kind of make the argument that there's really one place that power is mostly unchecked. There is sort of a check on it, but it's not as strong as you might think that it is. Okay, I need to go ahead and wrap up. I hope you're having a good day today. Hope your week is going on to be a good one. Continues to do that through the week. I'll, of course, be here tomorrow, and I hope that I will see you again on Tuesday's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video is recorded on Monday, the 1st of November of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, and maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.